In episode 6, the fallout from the Olympian's horse getting sick is absolutely devastating Amy's reputation. Her schedule is empty, the phone has stopped ringing, and the whispers in the equine community are turning into a roar of condemnation. She is utterly alone in this fight, convinced that Nathan's sister is the one who poisoned the horses to ruin her. But with Jack dismissing her theory and her terrified to even mention it to Nathan, Amy has no allies and no proof. This episode throws her directly into the lion's den at the Hudson Rodeo. This isn't just a professional showcase for her anymore, it's a desperate battlefield. Amy is wearing 2 hats now, the expert horse trainer trying to salvage her career with a public demonstration of her skills, and a detective gathering evidence against a cunning adversary. The tension is palpable from the very first second, because we know Amy is not just there to compete. She's there to set a trap. She has to corner Nathan's sister, force a confession in front of witnesses, and clear her name, all while knowing that this very act could detonate her relationship with Nathan. The pressure is immense, and you can feel Amy's anxiety simmering beneath the surface as she puts on a brave face, knowing that one wrong move could mean the end of everything she has built. The opening scenes at the rodeo are a masterclass in silent tension. Amy is there, trying to focus, but her eyes are constantly scanning the crowd, looking for one specific face. Every interaction is charged with a double meaning. When she talks to other riders, it's not just friendly chatter. She's probing for information, trying to see if they've heard the rumors about her. When she tends to her horse, her hands are steady, but her mind is racing, going over the plan again and again. Meanwhile, Nathan is by her side, trying to be supportive, completely unaware of the storm that is about to hit his own family. You can see the love and concern in his eyes, which just makes the impending conflict even more heartbreaking. Amy is wrestling with a terrible dilemma every second. She knows exposing the truth will humiliate Nathan's sister publicly and likely destroy her relationship with the man she loves. But the alternative, staying silent and letting her business and life's purpose crumble to dust, is unthinkable. This internal battle is written all over her face, a mixture of fierce determination and profound sadness. The suspense builds not with loud action, but with these quiet, painful moments where a single glance or a hesitant word carries the weight of an entire future. The confrontation, when it finally happens, is even more explosive than we could have predicted. Amy, armed with a piece of crucial evidence she managed to gather, perhaps a witness who saw the sister near the feed, or a suspicious item she finds, confronts her in a semi-public space. It's not a grand announcement to the whole rodeo at first, but a tense, whispered, yet furious exchange that simmers with long-held resentment. Amy lays out her accusations, her voice tight with a blend of anger and the pain of betrayal. Nathan's sister, of course, denies everything, her face a mask of feigned innocence that quickly cracks to reveal spite. The real drama ignites when Nathan walks into the middle of this. The scene unfolds exactly as he feared it would, just far enough out in the open for people to notice. He sees the raw anger on Amy's face and the defensive fury on his sister's. He is trapped, torn violently between his loyalty to the woman he loves and his protective instinct for his flawed, troubled sister. His attempts to de-escalate the situation come off as taking sides, and Amy, in her heightened emotional state, sees it as a betrayal. The plan to force a quiet confession has failed spectacularly, and now it's spiraling into a public spectacle. In the devastating aftermath, the confession is finally wrung out, but it brings no victory. Only ashes. Under the intense pressure, perhaps with Lou or another family member present, Nathan's sister finally breaks and admits to what she did. The truth is out, Amy's name is technically cleared, but the cost is catastrophic. Nathan is horrified by his sister's actions, but he is also deeply wounded by the public way in which it was revealed. He feels that Amy deliberately orchestrated this humiliation, choosing vengeance over a private family resolution. The distance that instantly forms between them is a physical, painful thing. He pulls away, his face a mask of hurt and conflict, needing space to process the wreckage of his family. Amy is left standing alone, the vindication feeling hollow and bitter. She saved her business, but the price was her love. The scene where she watches Nathan walk away, the rodeo lights fading around her, is one of the most crushing moments of the entire series. She won the battle, but the war cost her everything she thought she was fighting for. But just when all hope seems lost, an unexpected voice of reason emerges. Lindy. In a quiet, powerful scene, she seeks out Amy. She doesn't take sides or offer easy platitudes. Instead, she speaks to Amy with a startling maturity, reminding her of Nathan's own deep struggles and the immense weight he carries for his sister. Lindy makes Amy see that his reaction wasn't just about defending his sister, but about his own fear, his own history, and his desperate desire to hold his fractured family together. This conversation is the catalyst that breaks through Amy's own hurt and allows her to see the situation from Nathan's perspective. It doesn't magically fix everything, but it plants the seed of understanding. The episode ends on a note of fragile, tentative hope. There is no grand reunion, but perhaps a single, silent look exchanged across the stable yard, a look that says the door isn't completely closed, that the love is still there, buried beneath the pain, and that the hard work of rebuilding might just be possible. The future of their relationship is uncertain, but for the first time since the crisis began, it's not completely hopeless. The tension at the rodeo is a living entity, thick enough to choke on, and Amy is drowning in it. Every smile she forces for a client feels like a crack in her facade, every handshake a lie. She's playing a dangerous double game, and the strain is starting to show. You can see it in the way her eyes dart across the crowd during her demonstrations, not watching the horses, but hunting for her target. Her training session is a masterpiece of skill, a desperate performance to prove her worth to the world, but her mind is a million miles away. Trapped in that moment when she found Spartan and the Olympian's horse sick, she replays the memory of Nathan's sister touching the horses, the seemingly innocent gesture now screaming with malevolent intent. Every time Nathan comes near, offering a word of encouragement or a touch on the arm, a fresh wave of guilt and dread washes over her. She's standing right beside him, but the secret she's keeping is building a wall between them brick by brick. She knows the moment of confrontation is inevitable, a storm she is deliberately steering towards, and the agony of the wait is almost worse than the clash itself. She's trying to find the right moment, the right place, to force the truth into the open without causing maximum damage. But the rodeo is a powder keg, and any spark will set it off. The plan begins to unfold with a nervous, calculated precision. Amy isn't just waiting. She's actively working, quietly pulling aside stable hands and other riders, asking subtle questions about who they saw near the trailers that day. Her heart is pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs, a mix of fear and a desperate, burning need for justice. She finally spots Nathan's sister near the concession stands, isolated for a moment. This is it. This is her chance. The walkover feels like it takes a lifetime, every step heavy with the consequence of what is about to happen. She can feel Nathan's presence somewhere nearby, a looming shadow over her resolve. The confrontation starts low, a tense hissed exchange under the bright rodeo lights. "I know what you did," Amy says, her voice trembling not with fear, but with suppressed rage. The sister's eyes widen in feigned innocence, then narrow with instant defiance. The denials are sharp and quick, but Amy stands her ground, laying out her circumstantial evidence. The timing, the history, the suspicious behavior. The sister's facade begins to crack, revealing the spite beneath. "You have no proof," she sneers, her voice dripping with a venom that all but confirms her guilt. The air is electric, charged with a hatred that has been simmering for weeks, and you can feel the situation teetering on the edge of explosion. And then, the world caves in. Nathan, drawn by the rising tones or perhaps a sixth sense for disaster, walks right into the heart of the storm. His face, initially confused, shifts to a look of dawning horror as he pieces together the conversation. "What is going on here?" he demands, his voice a low growl of tension. He is instantly trapped, his head snapping between Amy's furious, accusatory stare and his sister's defensive, panicked glare. He tries to be the peacemaker, to lower the temperature. "Amy, not here. We can talk about this later, in private." But to Amy, after everything she's endured, his words feel like a brutal dismissal, a choice to protect his sister over believing her. The public setting, which she never wanted, now becomes the entire battlefield. Her control shatters. The hurt and frustration of the past week, the empty schedule, the ruined reputation, it all boils over. Her voice rises, echoing in the space, drawing the attention of nearby spectators. "No, Nathan. We talk about it now. She poisoned those horses. She tried to destroy me." The accusation hangs in the air, a public bomb sheeting. The plan for a quiet, forced confession is utterly, completely annihilated. The fallout is immediate and brutal. Nathan's sister, cornered and humiliated, erupts with a vicious, tear-filled tirade, hurling her own accusations back at Amy. But the damage is done. The scene is now a full-blown public spectacle. People are staring, whispering, phones might even be out. The shame on Nathan's face is profound. It's not just about the accusation anymore. It's about the way it was done. He looks at Amy as if he doesn't even know her, his eyes asking the silent, devastating question. Why would you do this? He doesn't wait for an answer. With a look of utter defeat, he takes his sister's arm and leads her away, leaving Amy standing alone in the center of the ringing silence she has created. The vindication she craved feels like a poison. She can see the headlines already, not about a cleared name, but about a dramatic, messy scandal. She saved her business. But as she watches the love of her life walk away, his back stiff with hurt and anger, she knows with a sickening certainty that she has just destroyed something infinitely more precious. The victory is the worst kind of defeat. The silence in the aftermath is louder than any rodeo cheer could ever be. Amy stands frozen in the spot where her world disintegrated, the eyes of the crowd feeling like physical weights upon her. The murmurs are starting, a wave of gossip that will soon spread through the entire equine community, but she's too numb to hear the words. All she can see is the devastating look on Nathan's face as he walked away, a blend of betrayal and profound disappointment that she knows will be seared into her memory forever. She mechanically goes through the motions of packing her gear, her hands trembling as she loads the tack into the trailer. Every clang of a buckle, every slam of a door echoes the finality of what just happened. People she knows, fellow trainers and riders, glance her way but don't approach. They just offer pitying looks or quickly turn away, unsure of how to handle the fallout from such a public explosion. The high from potentially uncovering the truth has been completely replaced by a crushing, cold dread. She wanted to clear her name, but she never imagined the cost would be this. She didn't just lose Nathan's trust in that moment. She feels she may have lost a part of herself, the part that believes in justice and happy endings. The drive back to Heartland is a blur of silent tears and suffocating regret. The dark, empty road a perfect mirror for the desolation she feels inside. Back at the ranch, the atmosphere is just as heavy. Jack and Lou have undoubtedly heard the rumors by now, and they greet her not with questions, but with a quiet, worried sympathy that is almost harder to bear. They see the raw grief on her face and know that this is more than a professional setback. Amy can't even bring herself to explain, to defend her actions. She just mumbles something and retreats to the barn, seeking solace in the one place that has always made sense. She buries her face in Spartan's neck, breathing in the familiar, comforting scent of hay and horse. But even that doesn't calm the storm inside her. She replays the confrontation over and over, each time cringing at her own loss of control. She had the moral high ground. She had the truth on her side, but she handled it with the subtlety of a sledgehammer. And in the process, she shattered the fragile trust she and Nathan had built. The knowledge that his sister is guilty is a cold comfort. It doesn't change the fact that she, Amy, chose the path of maximum collateral damage, and Nathan was caught in the blast. She feels utterly alone, isolated by her own actions, and the future she envisioned with Nathan seems to have vanished into thin air. Meanwhile, in town, Nathan is grappling with his own tempest of emotions. The car ride with his sister was filled with a tense silence, broken only by her sniffles and continued, weak denials that now ring hollow even to him. He's furious with her for what she allegedly did, for the sheer pettiness and danger of her actions, but he's also deeply, fundamentally hurt by Amy. He feels blindsided and betrayed. Why couldn't she have come to him first? Why did she have to stage that public ambush, knowing his complicated history and his sense of duty to his family? He's trapped between two conflicting loyalties, and both women have, in their own ways, left him feeling like his feelings were the last thing considered. He drops his sister off and drives aimlessly, the image of Amy's angry, determined face haunting him. He knows logically that she was pushed to the brink, that her career was on the line, but the way she went about it feels like a personal attack. The wall between them isn't just up. It feels like it's been fortified with steel and concrete, and he has no idea how, or even if, they can ever break it down. The distance he's creating isn't to punish her, but because he genuinely doesn't know what to say or how to bridge the chasm that has just opened up between them. The gloom that has settled over Heartland feels permanent, a heavy fog that even the bright morning sun can't burn away. Amy moves through her chores like a ghost, her movements automatic and devoid of their usual passion. The truth is out, her name is technically cleared, but the victory is so hollow it aches. She checks her phone compulsively, a part of her still hoping for a text from Nathan, some sign that the door isn't completely closed, but the screen remains stubbornly dark. The silence from him is a louder, more painful sound than any argument could ever be. Later that day, she has to force herself to make a business call to a former client, her voice shaky as she tries to explain that the issue has been resolved. The person on the other end is polite but non-committal, saying they'll get back to her, and Amy knows the stain on her reputation, while no longer about negligence, has now been complicated by the specter of public drama. She hangs up the phone and sinks onto a bale of hay, the weight of it all pressing down on her. She saved her business from one kind of ruin, only to potentially sink it with another. The professional and personal parts of her life, once so intertwined with hope, are now a tangled wreck, and she can't see a way to unravel them. It's in this state of utter dejection that Lindy finds her. Amy expects judgment, or at least a lecture about causing a scene, but Lindy's approach is surprisingly gentle. She doesn't say anything at first, just sits beside Amy in the quiet of the barn, the scent of leather and horses a familiar comfort. When she finally speaks, her voice is soft, devoid of accusation. She doesn't talk about who was right or wrong. Instead, she talks about Nathan. She tells Amy about the weight he has always carried for his sister, the countless second chances, the constant fear that one day her actions would lead to a point of no return. He wasn't just defending her, Amy, Lindy explains quietly. He was trying to stop that moment from happening. He was trying to hold his family together because he feels like it's his job, and he failed. She paints a picture of Nathan's pain that Amy, in her own righteous anger, had been completely blind to. Lindy's words aren't meant to make Amy feel worse. They are meant to make her see. And they do. The image shifts in Amy's mind. She no longer sees Nathan choosing his sister over her. She sees a man trapped by his own loyalty, a man who was desperately trying to manage a private catastrophe that she then lit a match to in the most public way possible. The fight goes out of her, replaced by a deep, aching understanding. Her anger wasn't wrong, but her method inflicted a deeper wound on the person she loves most. This newfound perspective doesn't magically fix things, but it changes everything for Amy. The self-pity and defensiveness melt away, leaving behind a clear, painful truth. She owes Nathan an apology, not for uncovering the truth, but for how she did it. She needs to acknowledge his pain and his position. The problem is the chasm between them feels too wide to cross. How do you even begin to apologize for something that caused so much damage? She spends the rest of the day wrestling with this, the words forming and dissolving in her mind. She considers driving to his place, but fears he'll turn her away. She thinks about calling, but the conversation feels too big for a phone. The uncertainty is paralyzing. Meanwhile, we see Nathan alone in his own home, equally lost. He's staring at a photo of him and Amy, his expression a battlefield of conflict. He knows intellectually that Amy was pushed to her limit. He knows his sister is guilty and deserved to be exposed. But the public humiliation, the feeling of being ambushed by the woman he loves, is a hurt that runs deep. He misses her, but the hurt is a formidable barrier. He's trapped in a cycle of what-ifs, wondering if there was anything he could have done differently to prevent this total collapse, his own heart as heavy and silent as the empty house around him. A fragile, tentative hope begins to dawn, not with a grand gesture, but with a quiet, deliberate choice. Amy, armed with the understanding Lindy gave her, knows she can't let the silence stretch any further. The distance is too painful. She doesn't go to his home or call. Instead, she chooses a place that belongs to both of them, a neutral ground filled with the memory of better times, the old river trail where they often rode together. She sends him a simple text, her heart hammering against her ribs as she types each word. It's not an explanation or a justification. It's an invitation. I'm at our spot on the river trail. I'll be here for a while if you want to talk. If not, I understand. There is no pressure, no demand, only an open door. Then she waits, the gentle rush of the river, the only sound, each passing minute feeling like an eternity. This is the moment of truth. She has laid her heart bare, acknowledging her part in the wreckage without a single spoken word. And now the ball is in his court. The fate of their entire relationship hangs on whether he will choose to come, to take that first difficult step towards her across the scorched earth between them. the weight is agonizing. Every rustle of leaves, every distant sound of a car engine makes her breath catch. She starts to lose hope, the cold dread seeping back in, convincing herself that she has broken things beyond repair. But then she hears it, the soft crunch of footsteps on the gravel path. Her head whips up, and there he is. Nathan stands a dozen feet away, his hands shoved in his pockets, his expression unreadable, a mix of caution and deep-seated weariness. He doesn't say anything at first, just looks at her, and the air is thick with all the words they haven't spoken. Amy's voice is soft, barely a whisper when she finally finds it. "Thank you for coming," she says, and the simple gratitude in her tone seems to break the initial tension. He gives a slow, single nod, taking a few steps closer, but still maintaining a careful distance, a physical representation of the emotional space that now exists between them. This is where the real work begins. Amy doesn't launch into a defense. She doesn't mention his sister or the sabotage. She starts with the only thing that matters now: his feelings. "I am so sorry, Nathan," she begins, her voice trembling with genuine remorse. "I was so focused on being right, on proving my innocence, that I was completely blind to what it would cost you. I was hurt and scared, and I took it out on you in the worst possible way. I should have trusted you enough to come to you first. I never wanted to put you in that position, to make you choose. I was selfish, and I am so sorry for the pain I caused." She lays it all out there, taking full accountability for her actions, for the public spectacle, for the humiliation it brought upon him and his family. She speaks not as a victim, but as someone who recognizes the damage she has inflicted on the person she loves most. It's a raw, vulnerable confession, and it hangs in the air between them, a crucial offering of peace. Nathan listens, his gaze fixed on her, and you can see the wall around his heart beginning to fracture. He lets out a long, slow breath, the stiffness in his shoulders easing just a little. "It was a mess, Amy," he says, his voice low and rough with emotion. "A real damn mess." He admits his own hurt, the feeling of betrayal he felt when she didn't confide in him. He talks about the weight of his sister's actions and the shame of the public confrontation. But crucially, he also acknowledges the impossible position Amy was in. "I know she pushed you to the edge. I know what was at stake for you. I'm not excusing what she did, not for a second. This is the bridge." He isn't just accepting her apology. He's meeting her halfway, validating her pain while expressing his own. The conversation that follows is quiet, painful, but honest. There are no easy fixes, no promises that everything is instantly okay. The trust that was broken will take time to rebuild. The memory of the hurt will linger, but as they stand there by the river, talking in hushed, earnest tones, they are planting the first seeds. They are choosing to face the wreckage together instead of walking away from it. The episode doesn't end with a kiss or a sweeping romantic score. It ends with them turning and walking slowly back down the path, side by side, not touching, but together. The road to recovery is long and uncertain, but for the first time since the storm hit, they are on it, and they are on it as a team. The love is still there, battered and bruised, but it's there and it's finally stronger than the pain.